Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome all of you back to part 63 of Chris Chan, A Comprehensive History. A slightly shorter one than normal because this one is only 36 minutes, but considering everything we had to talk about previously, and I'm not even done talking about that episode yet, we're going to be talking a bit more about it in the next coming days, because, and for reasons I'm sure you guys will understand and back me on, it was one of the most painful, one of the most agonizing, one of the absolute worst things I've ever had to actually do in 6 years doing this on the internet. Because Chris he willfully gave away over $6,000 in junk and then just starts screaming and begging and whining and cringing all the time on the internet, begging for people to and I said it before and I'll say it again, everything that happened in that video was Chris's fault. Chris could have chose not to believe the idea guys when they came on the scene. Chris could have just not bothered to, to give them the things that they demanded. Chris could have just ignored every single second of what happened and he would have been okay. So Chris doesn't even have the right to be angry in this case. Not to mention all the things the revelations he sort of came out with when it came to Bob and his pets. But thanks to the efforts of the guard dogs, i.e. Noel, the captain, and Marvin, they managed to probably save Chris from giving away probably thousands of more dollars, or possibly even doing some other heinous stuff. And whatever the face of both Stephen Boyd and Joshua Wise are, we'll find out probably in the future about what actually happened to those two, among many others who were involved during the Idea Guys saga. But starting from basically this point onwards, we're going to see pretty much the after effects, and I know people are going to rightfully say that the damage has been done, but, well, let's see, because the worst moments are still yet to come, and we've talked about a lot in that aspect so far, from Blue Spike to Asperchu, to Liquid Chris, to the death of Chris's father, to the macing of a GameStop employee, to the financial crisis, and where we left off was Chris lying in bed, whinging about, please everyone help us. So let's see what Chris has not learned today. Here we go. Oh, for God's not again. Warning, the following video contains visuals of animals in distress and near death, which some viewers may find disturbing. Well, considering that 2 videos ago we saw Bob lying almost like a corpse in a room, does that count as near death?
What made her this way? What is the attraction? What keeps us fascinated? This is the story of Chris Chan. On May 9th, 2018, after updating to a newer model for free, Christine listed her old iPhone 6 on the online auction site eBay. The phone's wallpapers were fan-created art pieces of Magi-chan Sonichu and Sonichu, and the back of the device was personally signed by Chris. On May 10th, a forum user who privately messaged Chris confirmed that
well, it's a good thing the back of the phone did not have the engraving of somebody called Tim on it, because that would have been really awkward.
the Chandlers were able to gather the funds needed for 2 months' worth of mortgage payments. On that same day, she wrote a tweet on the social media site Twitter, targeting a member of the disbanded Quick Protect Squad group of Chris Chan supporters. Here's a special shout out to @LittleAmyChan, the annoying troll who treated me like a stupid idiot and thought she could win my favor by direct messaging me fake sweet words of encouragement and fake voice messages. It's already been tried a gazillion times, sister. You lose! Amy responded, defending herself against accusations from other users, claiming that she only wanted to help Christine with her comics. Chris interjected, denying claims that Quick Protect Squad member Ting Tings was responsible for any of the harm she experienced over the past few months, confident in her assessment, since Chris felt she was a good judge of character. Chris then angrily engaged with several Twitter users who criticized her for allegedly mismanaging her finances and for wanting Chris to publicly acknowledge them. To one tweeter accusing her of becoming a villain before calling her Christofina, Chris replied, asterisk, 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 Christine, asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. You fucking internet douche whore! I'm fucking mad! I'm sick of the hate! I'm sick of everything! You don't know what I'm going through!
Yes, Chris, we don't know what you're going through. You managing to get money to actually pay for 2 months of your mortgage whilst not actually bothering to go to work or anything like that. Yeah, you really must be going through it bad, Chris. I don't know the feeling.
Another commenter supposed that the Christian activity archiving site, the Quickie, would have a field day cataloging her recent Twitter activities, to which Chris commented, "Your mom is going to have a field day with your limp dick." After YouTube personality Count Dankula retweeted her latest rage-filled message, theorizing that her account had been hacked, Christine replied, saying she could not think straight when she was angry, and reflected that when her mind went blank.
You can't think straight when you're mild-mannered, Chris. You can't think straight when you're exhilarated. Also, I thought you were bisexual. I thought you couldn't think straight. Okay, I know that's a cheap joke, but well, yeah, I suppose so. Low-hanging fruit is still low-hanging fruit, as they say.
Blank, she could not remember what she ate for breakfast. She then announced it was nappy time. Chris later apologized to her followers for getting angry, confessing that her brain felt like the fireworks on the 4th of July, the Independence Day of the United States. She finally wished her followers a good...
Oh, that 4th of July. Okay, thank you for clarifying that, Gino. Thank you so much.
night, and warned everyone to behave themselves, lest they be blocked by her. Chris accompanied her Twitter tirade with a YouTube video in which she continues expressing her anger at trolls.
Hello everybody, this is Christine Chandler coming to you live from home, and I'm gonna tell y'all some real true shit. I'm gonna tell you what, yes, it was me on Twitter. I'm sick of the trolls, I'm sick of the hate. Hey, that's a good dang commentary.
I know some people have made this... Okay, in all seriousness, Chris does not even sound angry. It sounds... You remember how I said Chris is one of the most insincere people I've ever had the misfortune of encountering in my life? Well, you want to know the absolute zenith as to Christine's level of insincerity? It's that she's trying to convey being angry, but...
The trolls! I'm sick of the hate! Hey!
You know what you don't do, by the way, if you claim to be angry or you're fed up and stuff like that? You don't smile, Chris. And I know there is a slightly other frame where Chris is smiling, but...
That's a good commentary!
But basically, I know Chris is... I know it's... The problem when you come across is incredibly insincere. It makes it very difficult for a lot of people to determine whether or not you are being serious about something long after this. And unfortunately for Chris, because of what I know and only things I can only guess too, it's very hard to believe in the idea about Chris being genuinely angry or genuinely ecstatic about something, because Chris's emotions almost seem to like blend almost into one, into just a cacophony of just what sounds like shouting, but Chris isn't actually really raising his voice, if that makes sense. I'm supposed to buy the idea that Chris is angry, but what is Chris really angry about, though? Because of the things that are going on Twitter? Well, who started all this, Chris? Who started all those live streams when you were screaming and shouting and stomping your feet, getting people to buy your Transformers on eBay because you thought it was a good idea to believe strangers about a fictitious world so that you could give all your money to... Like, I know I'm not Chris. I understand that. But is Chris's situation really that... Has Chris honestly got nothing to live for? That this is the only semblance of reality he can theoretically call his own? Because I know this is probably one of those things that's always going to need like videos, and I need to like spend time discussing it, like, or thinking about it in full. How bad is Chris's situation really? Because let's think about this objectively. Chris has spent nearly 2 years in... I don't want to say the Monster Mansion. No, the Monster Mansion would not accept Chris. Also, I don't think they have Monster Mansions in the US. For those who don't know, Monster Mansion is a term used in the UK. They are basically prisons for some of the UK's most hardened criminals. Usually, you have to be trialed at the Old Bailey to even to go to places like go to a Monster Mansion. But getting back to Chris, 2 years in prison. So basically, Chris had a roof over his head. He got fed daily. He had stuff to read. You could say Chris actually got it pretty good. Now, whether you do want to... There's a lot of conflicting ideas as to whether or not Chris really did have sex with Barb or not. But unlike the assassination attempt on Trump a couple of days ago, it's one of those things where there's conflicting evidence, but a lot of people do concede to the idea that it did happen because Chris admitted it to Bella with no hint of like irony whatsoever. There weren't any like... He told it in a very matter-of-fact way, which we will get to, I promise you guys. But again, Chris got out. He got a house. He got a place to live in. He gets basically a gal pal in Flutter to chaperone him around. Chris does live streams. When he was live streaming, he made nearly $700 at one point in just one live stream. He made more money than I did if I was to go to work 10 days in a row. And when all of this is being put together, Chris has... We know Chris has been through things like hardship, like losing his father, but tell me, do you think he really missed him that much? Do you think he only misses his father only because he was part responsible of taking care of the bills and was, financially responsible? Because it felt more like Bob had to carry the burden of responsibility as opposed to, Barbara or especially Chris. So I'd say in many respects, Chris probably has it pretty good. Not that I say that, but there's not many things I can absolutely say I'm envious of Chris about. There's like maybe one or two things here and there, but for the most part, Chris actually has it pretty good. But it's kind of discouraging in some way because a lot of people will immediately turn around and say, well, Chris didn't do anything to deserve any of this. Chris worked only to his capacity, and his capacity unfortunately appears to be very limited and in very small bursts. Chris has the energy to rant on people on Twitter, but he doesn't have the energy to complete any solitary pages to meet his paid obligations on Patreon. Bear in mind, it was something like nearly 500 days had passed before Patreon shut down his page for good. And I'm sitting here, literally, here's the thing. I have a job. I go to work. Probably you guys go to work as well. You know what? You earn a wage. You pay your bills. You pay your taxes. You pay your mortgage. You pay your rent. You pay your lecky. You pay your contents insurance. You pay for your car. You pay for it to get... I've got to pay to get my car serviced in 3 weeks' time. And then I've got to start saving up for what I'm going to do about Christmas. And then the fact that I've got to pay for my Adobe license halfway into January so I can continue making videos the way I do. So even though we're sort of like, I'm kind of like entering that part of the year where I have to start putting aside some money. And then I've got to think about if I'm even going to get to the US this time next year. What does Chris have to actually worry about for long term for the future at 42? Not really that. The only thing Chris really needs to prepare himself for is what happens when Bob finally dies. Because Chris has got to know that's just... It's how it is. And, well... We don't... At this point, like, I don't know... And I've already spent too much time talking about this already, so here we go. Let's get back to this. Let's get back to Chris. And again, there's a reason as well why I don't like have outlashes like stuff like this that Chris is doing. Guess why? Because I don't fucking respond to people who talk shit on Twitter about me. I don't respond to anything about people who talk shit about me on YouTube. Because guess what? It's not true. And if anything, from watching Chris, we know that engaging with trolls is not a good idea. And finally, it's just not true anyway. But that's a different story. So let's continue.
That we're not tolerating freaking commentary anymore! I've been a sentimental individual! My father always told me to suck up for and stand up for myself, and he always did the same thing. You know he did. He told you all the address of this very house, and...
By the way, Chris, you did that as well. Don't start blaming your father on this. Because he's... Don't bring people into this who can't defend themselves. That's not very fair, Chris, and you know that.
Our phone number gave you... Like, you know what? You want to come at us, you come at us. Every morning, he was. And I just turn across the day. Hatred! And like a certain person many years ago, my kindness, generosity, sentiment being taken advantage of will not be tolerated. And I will not tolerate any more hurtful comments or BS from any of you spiteful, hating people.
You know, Chris, at least you, back in the early day, you had some notoriety because of your behavior. Now you're just a fake locale. You just do this for any reason. I think he only does it just to stay relevant in any way he can, because a lot of doors are being closed already and some have been slammed shut. And the fact that we're nearly recording for 20 minutes and we're not even I thought this was going to be shorter than what we did before, but no, it didn't. I'm sorry about that if you thought this was going to be shorter, but no. I can't look away from this because I need to know what hell looks like. This is almost like appeasement as far as I'm concerned. I need to know what... Chris has called this himself. I need to know what the windows to hell look like. And I need to know what on earth... Like, listen, I used to believe in the concept of hell was more like... when I had that near-death experience when I was 13, I experienced what many people would call the void. And to me, that just about summarizes hell. It is dark, there's no sound, there's no light, there's nothing, but somehow you exist in it. You belong to it. And you therefore don't belong to anything else in the universe. You exist, and that's it. But you have no collection of feel, taste, nothing. You just darkness all around you. And looking at this looks like the void. This looks like darkness. This looks like hell. I find it kind of funny when Chris referred to other autistic people as, windows to hell, but I think that's only because Chris saw himself in the mirror and he didn't like what he looked like. But he didn't do anything about it apart from lash out at other people and bring people into this who didn't deserve it's. I said this before. This is what happens, ladies and gentlemen, when you don't, accept responsibility and you don't accept your mistakes and you don't accept any given attitude to change because it required too much effort. Well, this is what happens, guys, and I don't really know what else to say.
Anymore! You better shape up, be kind, be courteous, or it's that.
Also on that day, Chris delivered 2 paid video requests starring her mother, Barbara. Both were commissioned by the same individual who had previously paid for the short clip of Barbara dancing. In the first video, she wishes a happy birthday to Nicholas Cruz, the perpetrator of the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School shooting of 2018.
Action!
Hello, my name is Barbara Chandler.
And who the... And by the way, I'm sure that the guy who I'm pretty sure he did it for what he thought was the right reasons, just to get like a laugh out of it, but don't waste your money on this. If Keems... listen, and I know people probably won't believe it when I tell them, but listen, if Keemstar did a video where he watched this, he would be telling you guys the exact same thing. Bear in mind, Keemstar is the same person who specifically told people don't donate to Darkside Phil. And he was right too, by the way. Darkside Phil's a piece of shit anyway, but that's besides the point.
I wish to wish Nicholas Cruz happy birthday.
Yay!
Please, can buy Christine Chandler's merchandise to help us pay the mortgage. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And where do we buy this stuff from? My eBay.
Buy on eBay.
Yeah, link below. Thank you. Anything else you want to say?
No, that's all.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Why can't you say have a good day?
Have a good day.
Yay!
Next was a video dedication for Sandy Hook Elementary School shooter Adam Lanza.
My name is Barbara Chandler. I'm giving a shout out to Adam Lanza.
Lanza. Jeez. Oh well. Cool.
On May 13th,
Look, even if, and only if, actually, no, it wouldn't happen, but let's pretend that I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and I blew all my... Okay, let's just... Tell me, guys, even if I was caught, like, with my pants down financially, and I had to resort to this, you know what I wouldn't do? I wouldn't drag my mom into this. Absolutely no way. And then I wouldn't drag my mom into this. And I wouldn't try to make her look stupid and trying to... Ugh. I apologize, by the way, if this video, if you genuinely don't like it when I try and go off on these tangents, I just advise you guys to skip or just don't watch the video, I suppose. That's the only thing I have to say about that. Because, and I wish I knew what it was that really rubs me the wrong way, but maybe it's down to the fact that I could have told anybody. Anybody could have told Chris to have let go, to have not done this, to have accepted to try and bet it. I'm gonna make videos about that at some point anyway, but it has to be said. It's Chris made it. Chris. As long as Chris gets paid from this, that's all that matters to him. It only matters about what Chris wants. That's it.
To commemorate Mother's Day, Christine tweeted her wishes to her fans and added that she allegedly received inspiration for new drawings from her family in Quickville and would be uploading them soon. She closed by notifying her followers that she gave her mother hugs and kisses and encouraged everyone to do the same. She soon after posted a new drawing, which depicted Sonichu, Rosechu, her real-world self, and her Quickville counterpart, who was touching her butt. Chris wrote that since Christine of Quickville couldn't exist without her, Christine was in a sense Christine's mother. She followed up with another drawing, which showed herself in her Christian Sonichu form, exclaiming that she loved herself as she held the hand of Christian Sonichu of Quickville. 2 days later, Christine changed her relationship status on Facebook to married, revealing that her partners were Magichan Sonichu and Crizel Rosechu, and hinted that the Pokemon Mewtwo may be joining them in the future.
I love it how somebody responds with, okay. There's no need to say more.
Highlighted that the relationship was appropriate since she herself was half Pokemon.
Okay.
On May 16th, she revealed on Patreon that she had printed copies of the Christian prequel comic made by Brian Shickley, signed and ready to be shipped out in a few weeks, but stated she would send them sooner if she received significant sales on eBay. Later on, she shared on Twitter a private video that was sent to her by little Amy-chan. Chris confessed that she suspected her to be a troll, while another Twitter user branded Christine a half-wit because little Amy-chan was simply being kind and encouraging to her. Chris responded, saying that it was difficult for her to tell who was genuine anymore, since she had been beaten and abused by trolls and bullies for so long that she had to view everyone with suspicion for her own safety and peace of mind, and apologized if she happened to be wrong about little Amy-chan. During this time, Chris began aggressively addressing one Michael Hertz, who had made several Twitter accounts through which he constantly wrote demeaning and insulting tweets at her, up to 100 per day, according to Christine. She branded Hertz as slow in the mind and called for him to show real pictures of his ugly-ass face so that people would laugh at him. Not long after she blocked Hertz's account, he made others, which soon were blocked as well. On May 17th, Chris alerted her followers that her cat, Sorbet, had been missing for over a week after wandering away from her house. She had notified locals and posted flyers with her photos and description on telephone poles, but to no avail. She thus went online to increase awareness. A troll then contacted Christine with an alleged photo of Sorbet, claiming he had him in his home, when in fact it was a photoshopped picture. Upon learning of the deception, Chris called out the troll on Twitter. The next day, Chris asked the official account representing the My Little...
I mean, that's just fucked up. And then Chris immediately went into asking for free admissions to BronyCon. Yeah, talk about loving your family, huh, Chris? Bastard.
Little Pony convention, BronyCon, if she could attend the event for free because they all knew who she was, and was having difficulties in allotting funds for the convention, having purchased the standard level tickets, but wanting to upgrade to the VIP level. On May 19th, she returned to Patreon.
Okay, you know what? You want a free pass her, Chris? You're not getting one. You pay up like everybody else. Or, to avoid getting into problems with bankruptcy again, you pay your you get your house, you get your shit together first, Chris. Then you could consider BronyCon. You know what? If if I was Chris's parent, I would have literally said, no, priorities, Chris. You get this sorted first, then you can think about this. Get your priorities in order. Get your shit together. Then you can think about that.
Patreon with new updates to her comic book, Sonichu issue 12-9, focusing on her pony counterpart, Nightstar. She then went to Twitter to apologize to her former friend, Megan Schroeder, and her brother, John, acknowledging that Chris had wronged them back then and hoped they would respond, since time heals.
This is time heals all things. Chris, this is the second time in as many episodes you said this. I don't think they're interested. Because, like I said before, Chris, you almost seem to have dropped, Chris, the notion you said that you were 0.1% Jewish. You are, all of us, you brought it up specifically for you to just forget about it immediately. I'm not going through that rant again because we are already, we've been recording for 30 minutes and we're only 10 minutes in. Oh God, why is it even after everything that's happened, I feel more pissed off at Chris than ever before. Because it's infuriating. That's what it is. I know why, and yeah.
Heals all wounds, and she needed closure. Also on that day, YouTuber and Twitch speedrunner Copitz, who lived nearby, went with his friend to visit Christine and give her fan art he had drawn. She kissed both of them on the cheek, and they discussed making a video together in the near future. Later that day, Christine alerted her followers that her cat Polo was dying. She urged for someone to buy her old iPhone from eBay, and added that Polo was at death's door, wrapped in a towel, barely breathing and twitching, and if the cat didn't die by the following day, she would need more money to put it to sleep at the vet. The next day, Chris tweeted that Polo had passed away. The guard dogs, or conscientious members of the Kiwi farms who frequently conversed with her, confirmed to inquisitive and critical farm members that Polo was between 15 and 20 years old and died from old age, denying accusations that he suffered neglect or abuse. Chris told a Twitter user that the cat was buried in the backyard next to her old dog, Patty. Not long after, she continued reminding people of her old phone on eBay for $300, which she needed to sell to aid her dire financial situation. She added that she was willing to negotiate the price. Chris soon lowered the asking price to $250. Later, she posted a donation link on Twitter, writing that the family had no fresh food, fruits, vegetables, or raw meat, sustaining themselves on canned goods and an old bag of powdered milk alone. On May 23rd, Christine posted a new Sonichu page on Patreon in the hopes of attracting new patrons. Her longtime online acquaintance, Kenneth Engelhart, suggested that she learn how to use digital and vector art software, such as GIMP or Inkscape. Chris instead suggested that he learn how to draw. Kenneth responded with a sample of his own art, depicting his original Sonichu offshoot characters, Sonichin and Rosechin. Toward the end of the day, she went back to Twitter to thank some generous individuals who donated gift cards for the grocery store Food Lion, in this way proving to the trolls that donations would be spent on food. Another user offered to order her a pizza or some other meal brought to her home via the food ordering and delivery platform, Uber Eats. Chris scoffed at the thought of eating pizza, as it was junk food, and suggested that
pizza is junk food, maybe I could eat healthier. Are you being honest, Chris? Like, you know how I said before that apparently Chris is under the impression that, you know, beggars can be choosers at the same time, but it didn't even occur to Chris, even now, that he didn't even thought to say, that's a very generous offer, but in general we're trying to avoid eating pizza and we would have... We're trying to eat healthier food. Well, thank you so much for your consideration for the time being, but we're more interested in eating healthier during this difficult time. That doesn't take any effort whatsoever to say that, Chris, and you know it looks better. I know that, you know that, but maybe Chris doesn't know this. Maybe he just says it because he feels like he wants to say that, not because... Yeah.
Twitter user buy her something healthier. The next day, Chris simply tweeted, "This is a test." Kenneth soon inquired about its meaning, to which Christine replied, stating that it was a test to see if he would respond to her tweet, since he had recently been over-engaging with her Twitter activities. Chris asked if he had a crush on her, and told him that her sweethearts, Magi-chan and Grizel, said they were not comfortable with him. Kenneth simply replied, "No." He later returned and wrote, "If you genuinely believe they are talking to you, or that you have sex with them, there is a term for that. It's called schizoaffective disorder. Now go ahead and label me a troll, because I think you're having a psychotic break." Chris then addressed recent happenings, alluding to the idea guys. "I want to clear a couple things up. First of all, it was not I, Christine Weston Chandler, offering services a few weeks back. Nor was it I apologizing for ruining fandoms and the like. While it was physically me, that is my physical form, behind the keyboard, I was being forced to write such things and make dishonest apologies. The people who did that to me know who they are, and their day is coming, and rightfully soon. I know you read this. Don't get too comfortable, jerks in the Bluegrass State or Golden State." She soon deleted these tweets and wrote in their place a more indirect message, stating that she was tired of being taken advantage of by every so-called ween who read about her on the internet, and was starting to
Well, why do you keep falling for them though, Chris? That's...
fight back. She soon added another message, possibly as a response to Kenneth's previous tweet. "And one day, very soon, my family and I will be able to show ourselves to you all. Then you will be taking back your own schizo labels. Harumph." On May 26th, Christine asked for advice on Twitter, since the bulk of the yet unreleased Sonichu issue 16 was heavily influenced by the idea guys, and so greatly featured what Patreon would consider hate speech. She did not want to redraw issue 16 because she put in a lot of work into it, but at the same time did not want to risk offending anyone or getting her Patreon taken down. She soon after deleted these tweets. Chris then posted that she was thinking of ideas to deal with her troublesome financial situation, and rejected calls from observers to get a job, because she was certain her employers would be harassed by trolls until the end of Equestria. Instead, she preferred to work from home. Also on that day, YouTuber Copitz returned with some of his friends to pick up Chris and film an interview with her at a local cafe.
You probably know about the kiwi farms, right?
Yes.
Yeah. People probably replied to you on Twitter when you posted the picture of us that I posted it on kiwi farms. I didn't even know what the kiwi farms was. I just thought like it was a place to maybe brag about my experience, you know, because it was the first thing I thought of when I got home. But then I realized that wasn't such a good idea, and most of the people on the forums were telling me it wasn't a good idea either.
Yeah.
But you know,
I'll forgive you this time.
Thank you. What were you thinking when we came to your house? How often does that happen?
I feel like I want to say on average, maybe once every few months.
Is it normally fans or normally trolls?
I'm not quite certain.
Not sure. Maybe just people that live in the area and just want to meet an icon.
Yeah, kinda.
They later move on to discuss the game Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
You made that Animal Crossing video for your parents? I thought that was really nice.
Yeah.
I remember people saying, I thought this was really cool. They said that you pioneered the Let's Play experience.
I did?
Yeah, because you did it. You recorded yourself. You're commentating over gameplay before basically anybody else did on the internet. So some people consider you to have pioneered Let's Playing.
Huh.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Okay, well that's news to me.
Yeah, I saw that on the. Do you know the Geno Samuel 2 documentaries? He's making this crazy, long, comprehensive documentary, and I'd say it's very objective. He's not making fun of you in any way. He's on part 10, and they're each 40 minutes, and he's only on like 2008. So it's like he's getting everything in there.
As much as he can, right?
Yeah. How do you feel about it when people make like documentaries and stuff about you, but they're not making fun of you?
I just kind of wish I was more famous than infamous.
Yeah.
For more of my good quality.
Then, Chris, it's okay. I really gotta step in and say this. If Chris really wanted to be noted for his good traits, then you know what, Chris. If Chris wanted to do that, then he should have just stuck to doing his comics and stopped giving in to his ego about how there are women out there who believe that they are immediately after, like, stop responding to all the Julies, the Blancas, all the Sarah Hammers, and all the rest of it. Chris could have just sat in peace, playing with his comics, playing with his Legos, just getting on with it. And, well, Chris didn't. Now, you could say at the time Chris couldn't have anticipated this, but considering the other things Chris has done that would have garnered notoriety, I think it's fair to say that nobody would abide that. Chris is not Ellen DeGeneres, by the way, if that makes sense. You know, you guys remember who Ellen DeGeneres is. She's the woman who tries to gaslight people into thinking that actually trying to be good is the only way to be, and yet she doesn't... she grandstands this ideology, but she doesn't really participate in it because of her toxicity in how she micromanages things that happened on her show. Yeah. So, there's that.
My good traits, but I think they're all well noted, among which I have faith in the goodness of people. Mm-hmm. And that's discounting and discrediting the obvious bad ones.
Yeah. I got this picture right here where somebody swapped our mouths and made Eric's head really big. I'll put that up on screen.
Yeah, I saw those.
Yeah. You saw this. You think that's funny?
That's silly, yeah.
So you worked at the Wendy's in Ruckersville for a while, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, what was your experience like there?
Kind of hit or miss, and I was still young. I felt like it just didn't quite suit me as well anyhow.
Mm-hmm. What's your opinion on Minions? How do you like Lee's Minion shirt he's wearing?
Oh, yeah.
Minion
I'm not so. I've seen the first Despicable Me movie.
Yep, you've been let down by a lot of fake...
People have been faking the actual people, like Regis Phil Jaime for one,
Yeah. Did you actually fly out to Washington?
No.
No, you didn't?
No. We didn't fall for that.
It was when you drove out to
Cleveland.
To Cleveland, and then it was that old worn down house, and not what you expected. Not Julie.
On May 28th, Christine went to Twitter to thank everyone for donating to the Chandlers and easing their financial strain. Afterwards, she revealed that a friend from Twitter had customized a collectible figurine produced by Funko to make it look like Sonichu and had sent it to Chris. Upon receiving it, Chris spent 5 hours making a custom box for it. She later added that she cataloged the Sonichu Funko Pop figure with the number 982, since it was allegedly Sonichu's number in the Pokédex collection of official Pokémon. Chris confronted an individual who disagreed with her statement, replying that there were over 1,000 registered Pokémon in the dimension in which Sonichu, Rosechu, and the other Pokémon characters truly existed. She then requested that some make plush dolls representing Nightstar and Cunt Nugget, the My Little Pony counterparts of herself and her lover.
I love the fact that Gino doesn't even call him Cunty Nugget anymore. No, it's just the C word and then Nugget. That's funny.
Later shared a new drawing titled Love is in the Air, which depicted Nightstar and Kun holding each other as they fly through the sky. The next day, Christine expressed her wish to either find someone who had her iconic classic polo shirt, or to have the manufacturer, Ralph Lauren, begin to reproduce it. Later on, a Twitter user suggested that it would be best if when drawing the comics, Chris should first draw the line art in pencil and then trace over that with pen, since that way it would improve her art. Chris declined the advice because she liked drawing in pen and did not want to constantly sharpen pencils, and that if she made mistakes, she could simply redraw the page. In the final days of May, Joshua Moon, or Null, the administrator of the Kiwi Farms, bought Chris's old phone from eBay for $100. Null also received a personalized drawing depicting Nightstar, calling Null's pony persona handsome and cute. On June 3rd, Null notified Kiwi Farms readers that a famous YouTuber would soon interview Christine, and so asked members to provide any questions they would like to be included in the discussion. 2 days later, Chris attended the next scheduled court appearance regarding her trespassing charge at Charlottesville's Fashion Square shopping mall. It was given a continuance, with the next court date set on July 3rd. Later in the day, YouTuber Count Dankula conducted an online interview with Christine, which was live-streamed on YouTube.
Here we are. Chris-chan, it is amazing to actually finally be able to meet you. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you? Live on Space Coast, coast to coast.
Well, I've been trying to get this interview set up for quite a little while. You're someone that I have actually watched for a good number of years. Obviously, you know that a lot of the internet are very interested in you, so I'm going to do my best to make sure this interview isn't like all the other interviews you've had where the interviewers have been pretty lame and they haven't dove too much into you. So I'm going to try and go into areas that some people may not have spoke about. One of the main things that from what I've read and some of the things that I've seen is that you believe Quickville itself is a completely real place.
It is a real place.
It is.
Well, where is it then?
And all the characters within Quickville are also real.
Yes.
And one thing that I've heard as well is you believe that you actually can travel to Quickville.
Yes, I do believe so.
No, that's fine. So what is it that actually makes Quickville a real place?
Well, right now it exists in another dimension, and realistically, it's literally in northern part of Virginia.
Okay.
Quickville's in the northern part of Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can actually travel there?
Not in this world, but I have a way in which I'll be able to get there from this world to over there in that world.
How is it you actually travel?
I know that, well, Dankula's face kind of says it all, unfortunately, but I know Dankula literally said that he's been trying to get this interview going for a while, but I'm almost here thinking to myself, what exactly was Dankula expecting? Was he expecting something slightly less unhinged than this, I suppose? I don't know.
Oh, well then, just curious.
We're still working on getting the bugs out of it, among which I've astral projected there.
Is there any evidence that you have that proves that Quickville is a real place?
No.
I could show a few things that I've actually gotten from there.
Like what?
If you want to show them on stream, yeah, that'd be good.
I have an SQ ball, for one thing.
Did you get that from Quickville?
Yep.
That's interesting, that's amazing. So, when you actually travel to Quickville, what do you do while you're there?
I help watch over things, I help defend the city when need be, and I definitely see over the laws and things.
Right, because you're the mayor.
I'm pretty much the big leader. I'm the head honcho. I'm the creator and the chronicler.
Obviously, you created this place, so would it essentially you'd be a little bit higher than the leader? Then wouldn't you be the god since you literally created this place?
No, I am not a god because the god creates everything. I only created a portion. I do not create all things.
No, that's fair enough. That's very humble. And so, what other worlds have you travelled to?
I've definitely been to Equestria.
You mean Equestria? Is that the My Little Pony one?
Yeah.
All right. So, what did you do when you were there?
Just pretty much diplomatic things.
So, do these other worlds? Do they have like diplomatic relations with each other then? Do you sort of act as a diplomat between the worlds?
Among which, and an ally. I try to be as good a friend as I can be.
Are you going to any conventions or anything like that this year? Are you going to Comic-Con or anything?
Yeah, I'm going to BronyCon later this year.
That's cool. I'm probably going to Comic-Con myself.
BronyCon's quite close to home, just like pretty much a 2-hour drive from here.
Not that close.
I'm all the way over in Scotland.
Oh, that's where you are. I thought your accent was quite genuine to be a Scottish accent, eh?
Oh God. I listen. I like Count Dankula and all that, but I think he's beginning to wonder. No, Chris is legitimately serious about Quickville, and I suppose hearing it from the horse's mouth must be a thing in itself, I guess.
One thing as well is some people want to know. Obviously, your famous medallion. You know, it's one thing that is yes, he's the famous medallion. Is that actually a key to traveling at all?
It pretty much would be my key to my transforming between my Sanchi form and back. But really, moreover, it's not the physical medallion, but more my crest behind down my chest. That's this shape.
So is it a case of that sort of makes sure that if anybody else goes to Quickville, they can't transform into Sonichu, only you can?
It's a very select few. My father was half Sonichu.
Okay, here.
Your father was half Sonichu as well?
Mr. C is, yes.
Right, and what about Barb, your mother?
No, she's not.
She's not, so she's just 100% human?
Yeah.
Right, but your father was half Sonichu as well?
Yep.
Is there anybody else in this dimension who's half Sonichu that you know of?
Those that were born in this dimension, there were only 3 of us that were half Sonichu. That's me, my father, and Ted Bundy.
And Ted Bundy?
Oh
yeah.
No! Don't.
The serial killer?
Mistaken for a serial killer, but he was not.
Well, the Ted Bundy that was put on trial and stuff.
Yes, it was Wikipedia page reads. That was not, but he was clear. But he was framed. That was a whole bunch of mistake in there. He was actually working undercover at the time.
No.
So Ted Bundy, the guy who was, as you say, falsely put on trial for being a serial killer.
Yeah.
He was half Sonichu.
Yep.
So did him?
Fuck me, Chris. Okay, for the first time in this video, I'm actually kind of getting a good laugh out of this. Considering that been some pretty insane things have happened in this video already. This is, I wish there was a way, but look at poor Dankula. Dankula looks. He went from, oh god, he's serious, to, wait, what? Oh no. Oh no. You know what? I'm just gonna say, for the record, I'm glad that True Geordie decided never to do an interview with Chris, because I think True Geordie would have literally catapulted himself all the way from. Where does True Geordie even live in Newcastle anymore? Does he live in Byker or Gosforth or somewhere like that? But basically, because True Geordie is absolutely massive and absolutely. But then again, True Geordie is I don't even know what True Geordie even does nowadays. Does he the last I heard, he was doing a lot of podcasts and interviews with a lot of Romanian ex-cons and, people who have very discernible opinions about Andrew Tate. By the way, there are videos coming about that in the near future, but oh god, I'm almost, and listen, as a fellow Geordie myself, I don't even think I could. Maybe they should call me the true and honest Geordie. That will get to be on Chris's side. Yeah, that'll go down a tree, that won't it?
did him being falsely put on trial have anything to do with the fact he was half Sonichu? Or was that just unfortunate circumstance?
It was just an unfortunate circumstance. Oh, but there were circumstances.
Right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Fuck! What the fuck is going on? You know what? Okay. It's a common thing I've worked out that whenever people in the UK, they end a sentence by going, fair enough, it means that, yeah, alright, whatever, let's just, you have your moment and we'll move on, because, fuck me. And then Chris just has what I can only assume is like a mania episode, something between a stroke and a mania episode.
As far
and he doesn't even react
as things
to that.
go, I think we've covered pretty much everything but there's no more questions rolling in and stuff like that, but I can let you wrap up the stream if you want just now. Is there any final message that you would like to get across to everyone?
Yeah, don't bully people. Show some kindness and respect to others. Give them like put yourself in their shoes for a moment and think. Just think.
Should have taken your own advice, Chris. I know they say you learn by experience, but how many times does Chris need to have experience in nearly becoming homeless for the message to sink in?
If somebody talked to you like that, would you feel good? Would you feel bad? And I would say, if it makes you feel bad, then I would just not do it. So be good, be respectful, be kind. Stop and think.
That's good. That's wholesome. That's a really good message. Thanks. It was good. It was really insightful. It was good to learn a bit more about yourself and also about the Quickville universe, and I really appreciate you for doing this for me, Chris. It's been amazing, but thank you very much.
Yep.
Excellent, right. Thanks very much for coming, guys, right? Cheers.
Thanks for the memory.
Be quiet, Chris. Please, leave this poor man alone.
On June 9th, Christine purchased a newly released bundle of classic Sega games for the PlayStation 4 for $30. Soon after, she posted a new page from Sonichu issue 12-9 on her Patreon, revealing that Cunt Nugget's name had been changed to Kun Hanfu, prompted to do so by Null, who was annoyed by the crude pun injected by the idea guy Joshua Wise. Kun's new name instead directly translated to happy in Vietnamese. The next day, she bought 2 My Little Pony Funko Pop figurines for a total of $34. On June 12th, Chris listed and then quickly sold a set of original Pokemon cards he made in 2004, depicting her original Sonichu characters for $100. The next day, Chris notified her Twitter followers that all business inquiries should be sent to her new quickville.us domain email. This was established by Null in an effort to direct all trollsome and winsome correspondences to the new email managed by him, which would in turn clean up Chris's own personal inbox. In addition, this resulted in the so-called Operation King Snake, which consisted of Null posting on the Kiwi Farms fuming emails directed at Chris, or messages hoping to initiate new trolling sagas, exposing the sender's email.
It's kind of interesting, and that's actually quite a good idea. I should also point out that I think I got like a couple of emails a couple of times about people inquiring about the videos I did, and one of them, about like 2 weeks ago, sent me an entire Spanish translated version of the Chris and Spanish section of the Wikipedia, to which I did a video a couple of days ago. I know a lot of people were puzzled by my accent because it sounded like a bastardized Spanish accent via Spanish out of Marrakesh. It literally did sound like Spanish if somebody had lived in Morocco for 35 years and only just picked up the language in 5 days. But I've never actually got a chance to thank them for that. So I'll make sure to do that once this is over.
Email addresses and their identities if possible. Null typically ordered these wannabe trolls to commit suicide.
Oh.
Also on that day, Christine launched a crowdfunding page on the website GoFundMe with a goal of $400, which would allow her to attend the Too Many Games gaming convention held in Oaks, Pennsylvania.
No, not
Her plea was
this.
accompanied by a YouTube video posted that same day.
Hey everybody, this is Christine Chandler coming to you live from home once again, and today I'm here to make an announcement. Who wants to help me go to a gaming convention in Pennsylvania? Too many games. I really want to go. I've been invited. I need the money though. Yes, I'll tell.
Two things. One, well, no, three things. One, oh my god, I almost forgot about this. Second, considering what's happened in the last couple of days, I'd say if I ever when I go to the US, I am gonna make it a point of honor never to go anywhere near Pennsylvania. Nothing against it, just I've heard not terrible great things happen there. Well, hopefully I won't get like someone will try and assassinate me in the street. Third, to be honest, considering Chris's priorities are starting to slack once again, I would have used the money to have sent Chris to Charenton. There's a large lunatic asylum at Charenton. It's in France, by the way.
Need help below here. So I set up a GoFundMe. Help me achieve a goal of $400 to pay for everything I need. And you can see me in a couple of weekends. Yeah. Now help me reach a goal of $400 by this weekend to make it a real guarantee to see me in Pennsylvania. Thank you all so much and have an awesome, terrific day. Yay!
No, there's no yay about it, Chris. And, oh god, no! Oh, just thinking about that. I'm wrapping this up. I don't want to think about it until we have to talk about it.
This was soon followed by another video concerning her character, Nightstar.
So for those of you who don't know, yeah, that's Nightstar. Okay? And she stands on all fours, she stands on her hind legs. She's my unicorn, she's my counterpart at Equestria. And she's definitely my counterpart, just like the Christine Chandler of Quickville. It's like the three of us, we do coexist. And you know, Nightstar can become human through Twilight's mirror. And as some of you should be aware by now, there are like 69 special side chews and rose chews out of the thousands that came out of the chaotic rainbow on February 1st, 2003. And that's counting Sanchu and Rosie, and they both are the primes, and they both are our specials. They're 2 out of the 69.
You know what? 2 out of the 69. That's gotta be, I don't know if that's actually idea guy stuff put in there, but also, it's only just occurred to me at this very point, and I've known about Chris for nearly 5 years now, and I've only just realized that 2 out of the primes, that's literally, that sounds like they're ripping off Transformers as well, the more I think about it, because wasn't it in the second Transformers movie that they explicitly stated that Optimus Prime was one of the first, was the first of his kind on Cybertron, along with the Fallen? Was that what happened? I've only ever seen like Revenge of the Fallen once, and that was like 2 months ago, and I thought it was okay. I all things considered, but yeah.
She then describes the concept behind the transformation into Nightstar's Sonichu form.
But anyway, the point is, Nightstar is equal to me, just like Christine Chandler at Quickville. Alright? Counterpart, yo. Okay? And being one of the specials, she's part of my family, part of our family. And that is why, among which, aside from this being originally being intended as a kind love letter to the Brony community as well, my counterpart, and she's half Sonichu, Dimension Tripper, psychic powers, a whole lot of details. Overpowered? Yes, but there's so many damn powerful villains everywhere. So anyway, very important, Night Star, and everything that's happened in Equestria that's written in this book did happen. And I know for a fact, alongside Quickville and everything in our sister dimension from this world. Okay? So Night Star is very important. At least to me. Alright?
Terrific.
With the recent ousting of the Idea Guys came support in the form of Null and the other guard dogs, who did what they could to quell the abuse and negative attention that surrounded Christine. What they couldn't restrict, however, were Chris's own actions, which would undoubtedly, like many times before, attract many curious and unkind eyes once more.
I'm kind of glad that they make that a point, because it's something I've kind of half been shouting and holding my my face in my hands all throughout this, is that when you think about it, all the watchdogs and the guard dogs, all they wanted to do was just try and keep Chris safe. But Chris, being Chris, he couldn't. They could help out Chris, but basically what they did is they just filled in a role in which all of a sudden you begin to realize very, very quickly, Chris, his biggest concern is he is a danger to himself. He cannot keep safe on the internet, because not only is he chronically almost always online, but he never again had the initiative to realize, maybe I'm doing more harm than good for the things I do. Maybe nobody brought that message across, Chris, but maybe this is one of those things you probably needed to do, because when you go on like a live stream with somebody, whether it's again True Geordie or Count Dankula or PewDiePie, and you say stuff that, you know, Ted Bundy was framed, that's the point where you need to, like, I can't think of whatever the hell would be going on in my head if all of a sudden that was what I came out with. And I know fine well I would never come out with stuff that ridiculous and barbarastic. I know that's not a word, but I like it, and yeah, I guess. So, well, again, be kind, be safe, be smart, look after your family, blah blah. Chris says that, but then how did we get to this, by the way? Part 85. 22 episodes to go. Fuck me. Oh, you know what? I want to see, let's see, okay, I'm going to try and do a calculation. How many days, like, I don't know, Fridays are there until the end of 2024? Can we get to, I don't know, Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, or possibly even New Year's Eve, and we'll be all caught up with the entire series? I'm pretty sure we can do that, but let's see how it goes, eh? So, I know, again, I thought this was going to be like 15 minutes, but no, we've been here for nearly twice the length of this, and I am still, like, reeling from all of this. I thought, my god, just, my goodness. And with all that being said and done, I hope to see all of you guys again in the next video. Take care, and bye-bye for now.